Hello everyone. Today we will see very important topic in Python, that is Python indentation. So indentation refers to the spaces at the beginning of a code line. Python uses indentation to indicate a block of code. So it is a way of telling the Python interpreter that a series of statements belong to a specific or particular block of code. So in different languages like C, C++ and Java, we normally use curly braces to indicate the start and end of a block, whereas in Python we have to use space or tab as indentation to indicate the same to the compiler. In simple language, let's see a simple visualization to understand this concept. So in simple, all the statements with the same distance to the right. So there are, let's say, 7 statements in our code, out of which if you see the statement 1, statement 2 and statement 7 are, if you see this vertical line, they are at the exactly same distance from this vertical line, right? Statement 1, statement 2 and statement 7. So these three statements belong to the code block 1. So if you visualize it, so these 1, 2 and 7, they exactly follow the same indentation and they are at the same distance to the right side. So they belongs to the code block 1. Whereas the statement 3, statement 5 and statement 6, they belongs to the code block 2. If you see, they are exactly at following the same indentation. So they are, if you see this red block, so these are the spaces. So they follow the exactly same spaces from the right side. So one statement 3, 5 and 6 follow the same indentation and they belongs to the code block 2. Whereas if you see the statement 4, that is following the different indentation. If you see, there are two blocks or two tabs, right? So this that belongs to the code block 3. So statement 1, 2 and 7, that follows the same vertical line and they are at the same distance at the right side from this vertical line. So they follow the same indentation and belongs to the code block 1. Statement 3, 5 and 7 belongs to the code block 2 and statement 4 belongs to code block 3. So this is how the interpreter visualizes while running the code, and execution happens in the same order. By default, Python uses 4 spaces for indentation. However, that belongs to the developer, how many space they want to use. Number of spaces is up to you, but minimum 1 space is required and that must be used for defining the indentation. Now we will see practically some example so that we will understand it in better way. So let's say I am going to open PyCharm, creating a new Python file. So let's create indentation demo.py file. So I have created one Python file. Here let's say I am going to print. So let's say I am starting with the starting line, right? So it is the first vertical line. And I'm not giving any space here. So let's print statement 1. So this is the statement 1. And when I press the enter, it again starts at the exactly same vertical line distance from the statement 1, right? So it is starting at the same as what the print from the first statement has started. I'm just pressing enter again. So I'm just again printing statement 2. Print statement 2. So these both of these line are following the same indentation. So when we execute this file, so let's run this file, it will print both the statement here. Now let's say I am defining one variable a equals to 10, b equals to 20, and here I am just going to use if statement. If a less than b, then colon. Now just pay attention. So when I press enter here, the cursor will automatically coming at this place. That is by default 4 spaces from the left side. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Exactly 4 spaces. In Python by default indentation takes 4 spaces. And I have to write the print statement here now. So print a is less than b. That means this statement belongs to the if block of code. That is how we define the indentation here. And let's run this program. So it will print A is less than B. But now let's say I am not following the indentation, and if I miss the indentation, then what will happen? Then it will give the indentation error to me. For example, if I simply write the print statement at the same vertical line, so that is actually out of this if block. And when I execute this file, it will throw indentation error. If you see, it is throwing indentation error. So we have to basically provide some indentation to that if block that will separate it from the our main starting part of the code that is following the same indentation. So I can give at least one space here. So if I give one space, that is also fine. So if you run this file, now it will not throw the error because we have used indentation here. We have used one space here. So we can use 2 space, 3 space or 4 space. But in Python, by default it takes 4 spaces. It is fine if you use 2 spaces or 3 spaces, but it is recommended to have consistency in that. So if you use, so this is the first statement. Now let's say I am just coming out of this, so I am again just printing one more statement, print this is still inside if block. So this is still inside the if block only. So when I run this code, it will print this statement. So both of these statements are part of the if block because it follows the same indentation here. And if I want to write at the starting point again, print statement 3. So this is following the same indentation as statement 1, statement 2, statement 1 and statement 2. So when I run this file, it will print this statement as well. So now let's go back to our PPT. So how to avoid Python indentation errors? So use either the space button or tab button to indent your code. We can use space or tab button to indent our code. But we have to remember that we should not use both interchangeably. So if we are using the space, then use only space only. If you are using the tab, then use tab bar only. The interpreter will not be able to interpret the code and hence it will throw an error. And if you have used only one among them, then check for consistency in the indentation. If you indented block code 1 with 4 spaces, then block code 2 has to be indented with 8 spaces and not anything less than that. Finally, change your editor to make tabs and spaces visible, and that will help to spot them easily. And Python will give the error. So we have just seen that. If we skip the indentation, then Python will simply throw the error. So if you see here, if you don't follow the indentation, in this case, there has to be some space before print statement that will follow the indentation. Otherwise, it will throw an error. So this will throw an error because it is not following the indentation. Also, we have to use the same number of spaces in the same block of code. Otherwise, Python will give you an error. So let's see the same example. So here, let's say this both of the statement belongs to the if block. Now what happens if I simply give one additional space to second print statement? Now it will throw the indentation error. So when I run this file, it will again throw the indentation error because it is not following the consistent indentation here. So there are 4 spaces here, but here if you see there are 5 spaces, even though both of the statements should be in the same block of code and they should follow the same indentation. So they should come under the same vertical line here. So if it is starting from this, then it should start from this only. And now if you run the file, then it will not throw the error because they are following the same indentation here. So this is very important concept because most of the times if we don't follow the indentation, it will throw the error while executing the program. So that's about the indentation in Python. In the coming session, we will see some more topics about the Python programming. Thank you for watching this.